I'm going to hold my presentations about the Human Rights Article 2. I think this article is very important because everybody has the same rights and all the rights are valid for every culture and for every declared nationality. This right is about discrimination. It is also that all the rights are valid for everyone. Kan je nog terug? That all the rights are valid for everyone stands also in the article. In South Africa was a lot of discrimination. Black people were separated from the white people. And in the bus only the white people might sit. And there were toilets for black people and for white people. Here you see some pictures about the separating from black and white peoples. And by there, and there were two protesters against discrimination with Nelson Mandela and Rosa Parker. Rosa Parker didn't want to stand up in the bus for black and white people, and Nelson Mandela has sitting in prison for years only for fighting for the rights of black ones.
Hello everybody, I'm going to talk about Article 11 of the Human Rights. You can see what that is. In some countries, people can simply put down in prison for a long time without being executed of something. The text Article 11 was made. I choose this article because this article really spoke to me. I think you can not just be accused of something. You have to imagine that the ruler says you have to go to prison because you put it up. Something in the newspaper was bad. That was bad about about the king or something. And that is not really democratic. This article ensures that you can not just stuck without trial. For ordinary criminals is that they are entitled to a trial. If there is no evidence, then the suspect goes freely. I think this is a good article with this art because you're not just you cannot just get away from people. What sometimes happen in other countries like Libya and Egypt. If this article didn't exist, it would mean that you can be put down in prison for a long time without knowing what you did. That you cannot defend yourself with a lawyer, and the judges are not always honest. This article is signed by many countries, but the article is not always applied. Even the United States still has the Guantanamo Bay prison. Now you see what the people in Guantanamo Bay. Here you see here Guantanamo Bay, where it is on the map. It's in Cuba. There are people put in prison without a trial, and they tortured without any evidence that did see something. Think of the countries like Egypt and Syria, which now again people are arrested and put in prison, but only to stand up. Organizations as Amnesty International ensure the attention is ensure that you have to give attention to these prisoners.
Living funds.
Yeah,
How would you say that?
of.
The position of, the location of, yeah, position, location, and the place where it's situated. Any more remarks, questions? Philip?
What is the Guantanamo Bay or something?
Guantanamo Bay.
This is a prison of the United States, which prisoners with, how do you say that?
Political prisoners.
Yeah, political prisoners, and there are really terrorists in the prison, but there are a lot of people, on political reasons.
Well, the United States government thinks that they are terrorists. They're accused of planning terrorist attacks, but in many cases this has not been proven. So quite a few of them are there without a trial. That was your whole point. That was the oral article about. You can't put people into prison without a proper trial. That's basic.
So I'm going to tell you about Article 11. This article is about the fact that you are innocent until you are proven guilty. You have the right to defend yourself against accusations. I've chosen for this article because it's important that it spoke to me the most. It's important that people who are innocent remain innocent, because imagine if someone is convicted of something he or she has not done. It's a bad thing that an innocent person is put in prison while the guilty person is still on the loose. This is an article about the death of Michael Jackson, and I'm going to read it for you. Dr. Comenius is held responsible for the administration of the fatal dose of propofol to Michael Jackson, after which he entrusted the singer to his fate. According to the lawyer of the doctor injected Michael Jackson, the medium itself meant Murray was in another room, and he has no debt to the death of Michael Jackson. The 12-member jury, consisting of 7 men and 5 women, had 9 hours to deliberate. According to the jury, Murray was too lax with Michael Jackson's health. Murray had been waiting far too long to dial the emergency services when he found Michael Jackson. The defense argues that the case has come because Michael Jackson is famous. If it had been a different person, had we sat here then, the lawyer asked the jury during the closing speech. Dr. Cohen Murray is pronounced guilty for the death of Michael Jackson, but there's a little evidence that he did it. For example, there was no one present when he died, or when, according to the defenders of Michael Jackson, Dr. Conrad Murray gave him the overdose. So there's no one who can tell us what really happened, except Dr. Conrad Murray himself. The doctor of Michael Jackson could be sentenced for 4 years, but if he has not done it, then he will be in jail for nothing. But if he did it, it's right that he will be in jail. But we know nothing for sure. And now I'm going to let you see a video about the article.
I don't have your cell phone. I don't have your cell phone. What do you want? Is this a thing to do? This is standing around here? I'm sorry. Okay. What?
Don't make this a big deal. Just give it back, okay?
Yes,
and I didn't know you took it.
Where are your witnesses? Where are your witnesses?
Naar de dood, spuug in de face.
Different kinds of the human rights: civil and political rights, economic, social and cultural rights, and the collective rights. In some countries, human rights are not respected, such as the right freedom of speech. Asian and African countries, there's a censorship, so you can't say anything negative about the government, and if you do that, you can go to jail. But you can't do much against such countries. There are also organizations those fight for people are not allowed to say what they really think, and they not deserve what they and do not get what they deserve. In every society, you need rules. In the 18th century, almost every country has the human rights. In Africa and Asia, they don't have human rights because there were many slaves, and there was a society in which not everyone was equal. The 30 human rights, I choose the first article. We are all free and equal. We are all born free, and we all have our own thoughts and ideas. We should all be treated the same way. This article means that no matter who your father or mother is, when we are born, we are as good, as bad as any other child. I think that's a very good law, so therefore you can be better or worse than other people because of your race or religion. I'm happy with the idea I was raised that everyone is equal and no one better than another. My grandmother always says, treat another the way you want to be treated yourself. That means that's right.
Okay, thank you. Well done.